deliberately knocked over just to belittle her, calling her worthless, clumsy, and unfit to be in a millionaire's house, her words like daggers that pierced Isabella's spirit. Yet the maid said nothing in defense, only trembling as she gathered the shards, her hands nicked and bleeding while Clarissa smirked, sipping champagne with an air of superiority that made Alexander's blood run cold. And though every instinct in him wanted to storm in and demand answers, he lingered unseen for a moment. His heart breaking as the illusion of love cracked like the vase on the floor, forcing him to confront a painful truth. That the woman he had planned to marry, the one he had believed was his partner, was nothing more than a mask hiding disdain for those less fortunate, and in that silent moment, Alexander's respect for Isabella grew tenfold, for she bore the humiliation with quiet strength, refusing to let the cruelty strip her of dignity. And as Alexander finally stepped forward into the room, Clarissa's laughter faltered when she saw him, her smile freezing as his piercing gaze swept over the scene, the shattered vase, the trembling maid, and the champagne glass still clutched in her manicured fingers. And though his voice was calm, there was a storm beneath it as he asked her why she was humiliating someone who had done nothing but serve them with loyalty, his disappointment heavy in the air, while Isabella whispered apologies for the mess that wasn't her fault, trying to protect even the woman who had hurt her. And in that moment Alexander felt the sharpest contrast between the two women. The shallow cruelty of his fiancée and the quiet nobility of the maid, realizing that this moment, this glimpse behind the mask, would change everything. And yet neither Clarissa nor Isabella could have predicted what would come next, for the path that lay ahead would expose deeper truths, test Alexander's courage to make the hardest choice of his life, and reveal a kind of strength in Isabella that no one, not even she herself, had known existed. The sun hung lazily over the sprawling city, casting a golden glow over the skyscrapers and reflecting off the tall glass windows of Alexander Knight's penthouse apartment, a symbol of both his wealth and the lonely fortress he had built around himself. For although he was a young millionaire who had earned his fortune through a mix of sharp investments, real estate ventures, and bold decisions that others would have shied away from, his life had always felt incomplete despite the expensive cars, private jets, designer suits, and parties that others envied, because deep down Alexander longed for something real, something that couldn't be purchased or negotiated in boardrooms, and he believed he had finally found it when he met Clarissa, a stunning woman with striking blue eyes and a magnetic charm who seemed to light up every room she walked into, capturing his heart so swiftly that within months he had invited her into his world and announced their engagement, showering her with gifts, attention, and the promise of a lifetime of luxury. Yet beneath the perfect smile and the delicate laugh, there lurked a shadow of arrogance, a streak of cruelty that Alexander, blinded by love, chose to ignore, though his loyal household staff, who had served him for years and had grown to see him not only as a boss but also as a man with a good heart, noticed Clarissa's disdain toward them, especially toward Isabella, the young maid who had recently come from a small village to support her ailing mother and younger siblings, a maid who was quiet, hard-working, and full of dignity despite her humble clothes and modest presence. And it was on a particular evening, when Alexander returned home earlier than expected from a business meeting, that fate would reveal to him the truth in a way so raw and unforgettable that it would shake the very foundation of his engagement. He had intended to surprise Clarissa with dinner reservations and a diamond bracelet he had personally chosen, a gesture of his affection, but as he stepped quietly into the grand marble foyer of his home, the laughter that floated from the living room caught him off guard, not the sweet laughter of joy but a sharp, cutting sound that dripped with cruelty, and as he approached the scene he froze in disbelief at what his eyes beheld. Clarissa standing tall in her designer gown, mocking Isabella, who knelt on the floor with tears brimming in her eyes as she tried to pick up broken pieces of a porcelain vase that had shattered, a vase Clarissa had